Hello everybody, Tia Woodward here. I am Stamp with Tia and I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And I am very excited to be here today. When the January through June mini catalog came out, there were a couple of stamp sets that jumped out at me as something that I wanted to play with immediately. Hi Sonia, thank you for joining me. Oh, thank you again so much for sharing. And one of those stamp sets was Easter Friends. And there were several other holidays that I needed to get through first and other promotions and stuff like that. And today was the first day that I could play with, show you Easter Friends. And one of my customers and friends, Kelly, she made a cute card using Easter Friends. She got to it before I did, and I decided I was going to case her card. So there's her card. Isn't that cute? Using that little bunny. My colors are a little bit different, and my technique was a little bit different, but it's the same stamp set. And then I've got a second card that I'm going to make. Both cards are actually quite quick. Everything's been pre-cut, other than I needed to show you, I wanted to give you a little tip on creating the grassy knoll and how to align the flowers in the grassy knoll. Other than that, everything's been cut. I don't need to pull out the paper cutter. When I turn my camera down, you will see the two cards. Neither one have a sentiment on them yet, or their embellishments. So these were my raw concept cards, my play cards, and but I'll make actual cards with you, and I will include the sentiments and etc. So I'm really excited to show this to you. So okay, before I turn my camera down, let's get to business. Today's the last day of Celebration. I'm not going to belabor it. I'm not going to go through and show you everything that you can get for free. I've been talking about it for 2 months. And if by some chance somebody is watching this that hasn't seen or know about Celebration already, please reach out to me. I would be more than happy to share the information with you. But basically, you get free stamp set or stamp sets or designer series paper with purchases of either $50 or $100. So that's what that is. And then one last item, and that is that there's the joining special that's through today. $125 worth of product for $99 plus an additional 2 stamp sets and free shipping on that particular order. So that's a pretty magnificent deal. My team name is Paper Blessings. Not everybody that joins Stampin' Up! Decides to have a business like I do, and that's fine. That is accepted by the company. I understand the vast majority of the demonstrators that have joined with Stampin' Up! Are what some people refer to as hobby demonstrators, but they're people that basically have signed up to get the discount. Nothing wrong with that. That's what I did in the beginning too, and then I discovered by accident that I love to teach, and I decided to turn this into a business. My day job is going away, and I would really like to ramp this up and make this more of my full-time job. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm going to turn the camera down and give you a sneak peek of the cards that we're going to be making today. So here we go. So I must have Easter on the brain, because yesterday we had a ham for dinner, and this was the card that I demonstrated yesterday. Very Eastery colors. Let's see, I don't think I've got my phone in there quite straight. I'm going to adjust this a little bit, sorry. There we go, that's straighter, I think, I hope. Yep, that's pretty straight. All right. So what do you think of these two cards, right? So I showed you my friend Kelly's card. This was her card, and you can see I have followed it very similarly. I'm just using some different colors and a different technique for coloring the bunny. The card will be white instead of the lavender that she's used. There is no wrong or right answer here. My, got a little frog in my throat. Guess I better take a sip. Okay, so anyway, and then I used a blending brush in the background to create my sky. We have some different designer series papers that you can cut out to do that with as well. Then the second card, so this is this bunny here, and the second card, I wanted to use this little baby duckling. How cute is this guy, right? So the outside, I've got set up to use the sentiment, just my friend, and it's going to sit right here, and there's going to be a bow over here. But on the inside, it says, may your days blossom with joy and happiness. Doesn't this little dancing duck just resemble everything that's joy and happiness? So those are the two cards I'm making today. And let's see, well, I guess I've got I've got everything ready to go for this card first, so I'm going to start with that one. And again, this one is super easy. So both of these are going to go pretty quick. Excuse me. I don't think the tea is doing it, busting out the water. So here in the Pacific Northwest, we have some pretty significant rain event taking place right now. Okay. So our card base is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2. So I'm going to set that off to one side. So I'm not going to need that for a little bit. My card front is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. Just make sure, I'm going to double check this. I had paper flying all over the place. Okay, yep, 4 by 5 1/4. And I have pre-cut my grassy knoll, and I've pre-cut my flowers. And I want to give you a hint about lining these up. So I'm actually going to trim these off, and I'm going to stamp a little bit of grass on here. And then these are going to line up behind and be the flowers. And I want to show you how I did that, because you're going to want to make sure that you get these curves. The curves need to line up. And yep, like that. And I want to show you how I did that. So this die, this edge die, is from the Flowering Tulips bundle, and it's this detailed die. And what I did is I pre-cut my paper to the length that I wanted. I lined up this edge like such, and then I put a piece of my Post-it tape. You've all seen me use let's see, I'm looking for it, my Post-it tape over and over again. Darn it. Had to use my inhaler earlier too. All right. And then mark this off like this. And now everything that I cut, whether it's this piece or this piece, has been marked. So that is how I align this edge. Then, and I am going to try to get rid of this little gruffy throat. I was doing so good earlier. This is extra long at the moment, and that's fine. We will be able to just trim that off. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to see, there it is. I'm just going to use my paper snips, and I'm going to cut off these stems. So just super easy. Don't have to do anything crazy other than just follow that curve. And you can see I've missed a couple little dots right here. I'm going to go back and fix it. So there's that. Now go back. Just a couple that I didn't get quite as close as I would have liked. And they're actually not even going to show. And isn't that pretty? It's such a pretty, pretty edge. All right. So now, before I put my adhesive on here, I'm just going to go ahead and determine what I can trim off. So it looks like that is my matching edge. So it looks like on this side I didn't quite get it perfect, but I got it close. And then on this side, I'm going to cut through here. This is always so different doing this. There we go. And throw this away. And now I can just apply my adhesive. I mean, like, how fast is that? Oh, and before I apply my adhesive, I guess I do need to stamp my grass. I was really getting ahead of myself. So yeah, we're having what's called a pineapple express come through the Pacific Northwest right now, and we're supposed to get over 2 inches in rain just today. I went to physical therapy earlier today, and just going from my appointment to my car, which was in a parking garage, so not that far, not that crazy, I got soaked all the way to the bone. It was nuts. All right. That's probably close to enough. My bunny's going to cover part of this. There we go. All right, so the grass is on. And I just use tone on tone, so that's Pear Pizzazz. I'm using Pear Pizzazz ink on Pear Pizzazz cardstock. All right, so now I am going to use my adhesive. And set these flowers in. And I'm still going to color these flowers, but you can do it before or after. I'll show you why I feel comfortable doing it after. Because I have used my green glue, I feel I have time to wiggle that around and get it positioned just so. So I feel very good about that. I'm going to pull out the same piece of paper I used earlier when I colored my flowers. And I'm using Flirty Flamingo and a sponge dauber to add color to my flowers. Oh, and I just realized, oh, I have plenty of battery. Never mind. Thought I was going to need to add some battery or some power. So I'm just using my sponge dauber. So I cut out these, this flower border in soft seafoam. And that way I had a hint of a green stem, but the color of green wasn't so dark that it was going to much affect the color that I added to the flowers. And if I wanted to, I could go in here and I could put a couple of different colors on these flowers, but I'm making a couple of different cards today, so I decided to just make it easy on myself. There we go. I'm done with that. And notice how some of these are turning out a little darker and some are a little lighter, so they're already looking like they've got more than one color involved in them anyway. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull over my card, the scene that will be behind this, my sky, and I'm going to add in with a blending brush my balmy blue. And I'm doing this in a somewhat circular fashion. I'm trying to kind of recreate a sky with some clouds. Let's see, let's put this over here so I'm not reaching across. And I'm actually going to start down here behind the grass. That way if I make a big goober, it's not going to be too terribly noticeable. And I don't need to cover every inch with ink. I'm perfectly happy to create that kind of puffy look. And I think I'm pretty well done. It doesn't take much, and it is rather quick. See? Very effective. I do feel like I'm missing a little bit right there. There we go. There we go. So already done with the balmy blue. All right, so I'm actually ready to adhere this to this card front. That's not my card base, it's my card front. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply my adhesive, I'm going to put it in place, and then I'm actually going to go in and bend those flowers just a little bit so they look a little organic. Let's see. So I have lined up my edges, and all of these dimensions will be on my blog, hopefully later today. I have everything to put from this card on my blog today yet as well. I mentioned I had physical therapy earlier today. All right. Taking care of this back issue. Yay. All right. So there's our card front so far. This is actually going to be set up on dimensionals on this white card base like this. Won't that be pretty? All right, but first we need to create our bunny. Here's my cardstock. Here's my stamp. I'm going to use soft suede ink, and I will be fussy cutting this one item. There's no dies that goes with this stamp set. How beautiful is that bunny? So pretty. Looking in the camera and making sure everybody can still see it. So, to create, notice the difference between this bunny and this bunny is there's kind of a softening, and some of these lines have been blurred together. I'm going to use, this is a Stampin' Up! Blender pen. And I believe it is, I'm trying to remember if there's alcohol in this or not. I know there's water. I'm gonna smell it. I don't smell any alcohol. And I'm going to use, I'm gonna take it's a wet tip and it's just clear. And I'm going to come through and I'm gonna go over these lines. And I'm not concentrating too much in one spot because there is enough moisture in here that it will actually a hole in the paper if I work on it too hard. So you see the strokes that I'm doing. So it's just softening those stamped lines. And I'm just going over the lines that were stamped in the soft suede, and it's just creating that softened appearance. There's no science to this. I mean, I'm sure there's science to how the pen works, but can you see the difference between, I'm going to pull this up closer to the camera, between the top, the bunny's head, and the bunny's body? See how that's just been softened and blended a little bit? I'm not changing any of the design. I'm just coloring in the bunny using the ink that I stamped the silhouette with. And I'm kind of going in the direction of the lines. I haven't been told that that's a necessity, but it felt like the right thing to do to me, so that's what I'm doing. And then when you may have noticed I had just a little bit of blush on that bunny's cheeks and nose. I used our watercolor pencils for that. So I will go back in with that after I'm done using this blender pen. I believe this blender pen comes 3 in a pack, and I'm still using my very first one. I've been using it for most of the year. And you can use these on the watercolor pencils, or just to soften the edges of your ink, like I'm doing here. Isn't that beautiful? Now I'm just going to see what, yeah. I'm going to add to those little tufts of hair, that little bit of fuzz coming off of the sides of the ears and off of the back of the body here. There we go. How sweet is that baby? Isn't she sweet? All right, so now I am going to use, I have 2 different things here, so oops. I'm going to use the Flirty Flamingo on the nose, and just take a look at what I did previously. So I just came in and filled in the little triangle of the nose and added a little circle here and here. Since this is my concept card, I want to go ahead and I want to try this blender pen on these cheeks. Oh, there we go. That softened that. I like that. That's what I wanted. There we go. So I just softened my watercolor pencil. Nice? All right. So that's what I'm going to do on this as well. So let's see if I can keep my head out of the, and I cannot guarantee how curly my hair is after getting caught in the rain. My hair is naturally very, very curly. All right, so there's our little bunny nose. And then directly below the eye, I'm going to put the first little bit of blush, and it's probably not going to be as big as the one that's over here, directly under the eye. And did I get that kind of level? Kind of, sort of? Let's see. just softening that with the blender pen. And what I did just now, you might have noticed that I came over here. I wanted to see if there was any color that was going to come off from using the brown. But I think I used the other end for the brown. There we go. I'm just moving that pink out just a little bit. Okay, and then I felt like the eyes were just a little too pale, so I'm just going in and outlining in the black watercolor pencil, and I'm not going to use the blender pen with that. I'm just deepening the color of the eyes. There we go. All right, so next, stick those out of the way. So I want to show you, this was actually one of the first bunnies. So when I was experimenting, preparing for today, this one I used the blending brushes and I used the daubers for the cheeks. I kind of feel like I could use a little bit more color over here. All right, fuss with that again in a minute after I've cut. So, want to show, let's see if I can show you with this one. See how when I've gone through and I've trimmed just, so normally when I trim something, I keep a consistent halo all the way around. This one I've come in closer to the little fuzzies, and you can see that on here as well. See how close I came into the fuzzies? I didn't try to cut each of the little fuzzies. I'm fussing too much with these little cheeks, but there we go. Now I like that better. There we go. All right. Trimming. So, let's see. My husband is a groundskeeper and he is out in this nasty, nasty weather. He said they've already, all their clothes are already completely soaked. Let's see. This is the problem I've been having when I do this fussy cutting, is I gotta get it so that my hand isn't creating a shadow between the light and my paper. So anyway, I told my husband we would get him warm and in some comfy clothes. My heart goes out to everybody that has to work in this kind of stuff. It can be dangerous. The place where he works, there's a lot of really large trees. Oops, I dropped. And I dropped where I was going to slip on it, so I had to pick it up. I worry because when the ground gets saturated and then the winds come, that he could end up in the wrong place when a tree decides it's going to come down. But I need to not worry about stuff like that. It has nothing to do with him doing anything wrong or right. It has everything to do with the circumstances of the weather. Okay, what else can I tell you about? Next week, I think next Monday, I expect to be demonstrating the Waves of the Ocean set that is coming out. Is available to customers starting tomorrow. It's got some beautiful detailed dies, some very gorgeous designer series papers. The stamp set and the dies will be in the new annual catalog that comes out in May, I believe. And yeah, I think it's May 3rd or something like that. Anyway, the paper, there's 2 different papers and some embellishments, and they will not carry over. And they are show-stopping beautiful. So when I show them to you, if you love them, don't hesitate to pick them up, to purchase them, because it's while supplies last. All right, almost done here. Again, moving so that my hand is not creating a shadow between the light and the scissors. It's actually my scissors creating the shadow. And I'm just barely creating this little dinky halo. You can do it however you want. You can do the big halo, you can stamp it right on the back. I've seen one person's card where the bunny is actually stamped behind the flowers on the card base, and they're peeking up through the flowers. That's a really cute idea too. All right, bunny is cut. I am going to go over their cheeks one more time with this blending pen, just softening and softening, because I can see a pencil edge, and I don't want to see a pencil edge. There we go. All right. I'm going to use dimensionals to place her. I'm calling it a her because I think I'm going to put a bow on her ear. Yeah. Let's see, what else can I tell you about today? I know so many people already saw me yesterday. They're probably not even looking for me today. That's all right. The video will be here, and it'll be on YouTube. So I send out Easter cards, and I like to send, last year I started sending seeds, flower seeds or vegetable seeds, garden seeds, to my grandchildren so that they can plant. They're both sets of families have garden plots. All right, I'm going to take my card base, line it up with the score line. Get my head in the way here. Grab out my bone folder and burnish my fold. I just realized what I didn't do is I didn't cut my paper for the inside of the card. That's all right. That's all right. So I'm going to use dimensionals to apply this to the card front. And I'm using the standard size dimensionals. I am probably now going to have to cut a piece of paper to put on the inside of this because there's a few layers to the outside, right? So I don't want my card to be flippy floppy. There we go. I don't want the card too heavy and the inside or the back side to collapse or not stand up well. When, you know, if you sent this card, you want somebody to be able to display it, right? Right, so here it's fairly straight. Right, so now if a person had wanted, can't do it now because I've already put it on the card front with dimensionals, so it wouldn't stamp right, but you could potentially stamp here, or you could stamp here, Happy Easter or what have you. I am going to stamp on a piece of white, and I just haven't thought about what color I want to stamp. Well, it should be in green, I think, or in blue. If I put a Happy Easter banner up here, then it would be in blue. Or if I made it so it looked like the bunny was holding a Happy Easter banner, that would be cute. So let's see, do I want to do that? Or something over here? Or something up there? Okay, I'm going to start with the green. I'm going to stamp one in green and one in blue. And I must not have pulled that out of the stamp set, so let's pull that out of the stamp set. There it is. Happy Easter. I am looking for which block I need. So this is Pear Pizzazz. Just going to, ooh, I don't think I was as straight as, oh, that's actually not too bad. That actually looks fairly straight. Okay, that actually looks somewhat nice. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp it in the balmy blue as well, just because I've already got it out. I'm going to cut both, and I'm going to see which one I like better. I have this big piece of paper. I'm kind of liking that green though. And then I'm going to use my I'm trying to remember the name of it. I always forget the name of this punch. Pick a punch or pick a label. Okay, so I could do no, I think I like this one down here. Okay, that's what I needed to know. Cleaned off my stamp, putting my stamp away because I want to put my duck back on that block right there. There we go. Just cleaning up just a little bit. Okay, so I do have my paper trimmer here, so I will go ahead and use that to get a nice straight cut. Move this out of the way, move my sample card out of the way. And so how big your sentiment is totally going to depend on what you pick for a sentiment. So I just picked a 3/4 of an inch. I think I'm going to do the flag banner tips. That's pretty straight. See? How cute is that? And that's awfully cute. That could be cute. Probably, I'll figure that out. Let's get this set aside. This set aside. And I do need to cut a layer to put on the inside. I think I'm going to grab some of this Pear Pizzazz and do a frame and then do another layer on top of it. I'm still figuring this out. Let's see, I just happen to have my baggie of green scraps here, so I'm checking that to make sure I don't have something already to cut for the mat. Sorry that I forgot to do that ahead of time. Nope, I don't see one in here, so I'm going to grab a piece of Pear Pizzazz off of the shelf. And I'm just going to go with the standard dimension of 4 by 5 1/4. And I think I've already got a piece of white sitting here. I don't think I need to go dig for that. Let's see, where'd it go? It's here somewhere. Well, I know it is, because I had it in my hand right before I started the video. Well, rather than have anybody wait for me, so this was 4 by 5 1/4, so I'll take this down to, I'm going to take it down 1/4 of an inch. So I will go with 3 3/4 by 5. Sorry, I'm a little bit off camera, but I'll be back on and you'll see the pieces. There we go. So this host code is just good through today. And then after today, there will be a new host code. See, that'll look good on the inside of the card. So it says Happy Easter on the outside. What do I want to print on the inside? Let's see. Let's grab this Easter Friends. Sending warm and happy wishes this spring. That would look very nice. And probably go ahead and just put a couple little tufts of grass. And since I used green ink on the outside of the card for the sentiment, I'm going to use green on the inside as well. So here's my grass. Oh, I'm not in love with that, but I've seen worse. And there we go. That's what we're going to go with for across the bottom. And then I need, looks like I'm going to, my D block is the most used block today. Right. You know, if I really hated that, I could just flip it over. That looks good. The other thing I could do is I can grab, I've got my sponge daubers here, and I can just go in and color in that white edge that is making me unhappy. See? And now it looks fine. There. Ta-da, fixed. That's so great. That's what one of the things that's so great about our crafting is that if there is a little flub, then a lot of times we can fix it fairly easily. So this will go on the inside of our little sweet card here, and then I can't wait for us to start making this guy. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay. Going to adhere this, and I still need to put a bow, and I need to figure out my exact placement for my Happy Easter sentiment on the front. So I just love baby animals. I like big animals too, but at Easter I don't tend to think of big animals. I tend to think of baby animals. All right. Let's adhere that to the inside. So now with all these layers that I have on the front, now when I add this double layer to the inside, it's going to balance out the weight of the card. And what's cuter than a couple or a dancing duckling, right? Like, hello, happy, happy. Alrighty, get that nice and centered. It sounds like the rain has at least slowed down, if not stopped here for a few minutes. It's been crazy wet today. All right, so I'm going to put my sentiment, I don't know, I'm guessing somewhere there. I'm not caring for it up here. I thought about putting it in her little hands, but it's kind of big for that. I think I'm gonna put it right here or there. I don't know. I know I'm being very wishy-washy about where this is going to go. Maybe I'll feel better when I decide on putting a bow in her hair or on her ear. That's kind of cute. I'm not sure this is the right color, and I think it's going to be too thick. It's going to be too heavy. Need to go with the smaller one, okay, or the thinner ribbon. So put this one out of the way. I'm going to grab a piece of this. I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm only going to use half of the length, or half of the width. Did I say that right? And I'm going to make a little bow for her ear. Okay, come on. Come on, come on, come on. This is actually really easy to do, just getting started is the hardest part. And it's not hard, it's just a little clumsy. Oh, I'm getting a little crazy with my cut there. All right. So there is that. I'm looking, that's fine. My bow maker, I'm going to make the smallest sized bow and see if that works well or if I need to bump it up one. I think that's going to be the right size for her. Let's see, what else can I tell you? I've told you about today being the last day of celebration. I've told you today's the last day of the celebration joining promotion. I've told you a little bit about paper blessings. I've told you that next Monday I'm going to be demonstrating the waves of the ocean. That new bundle, I've told you when it starts and when it ends. If you would like to receive my, look at that little bow, and it's going to go right there on her ear, I think on her ear. Or do I want to put it, let's see, I'll play with a couple of different spots. I don't care for it in under her neck. Well, that is kind of Eastery looking, isn't it? Old-fashioned Eastery looking. I thought about putting it in her hand. I don't know. I still kind of think her ear. So that's what I'm going to do. It's my card. You can put the bow wherever you want. And I am going to use a mini glue dot, and I might have to roll it up so that it doesn't show. Because this is pretty. I'm going to use the end of my, the piercing end of my, take my pick tool, and I'm just going to create a little ball of that mini glue dot. Because I've cut that ribbon in half, right? Here we go. And I'm going to put that more towards the back side of that ear, because I don't want, I will trim this in just a second, but I don't want to hide her eye. Oh, how cute is she? Okay, it looks like I'm live. If there's anybody with me, I can't tell who's with me at this time, but if you would please let me know if I'm live or not. It looked like I had a disruption in my feed. I would appreciate that information. My screen went black with a red message that I couldn't read. All right, there, she has a bow in her hair. Now I just need to stick my Easter, Happy Easter on here, and okay, so Tia, you have to figure this out. Down here, up here. I know I don't want it up there, or I think I don't want it up there. That actually almost looks the best, doesn't it? Okay, I'm fussing too much. And I'm looking for my dimensionals again. There we go. For some reason I keep throwing them over to the side, and that, which is fine, except that they go upside down and then they look like cardstock. Okay, it looks like, according to this, I've got at least one person watching, so I'm going to assume that I have not lost my feed. This is silly, isn't it, that I'm fussing so much? All right, she's going up here this time. I just don't like it at eye level of the bunny. Okay, making a decision. There, that's where it's going. All right, because I want to get onto this card. This card has got my heart. I love this card too. It's just, I got most excited about this one. I have a couple of different embellishments I could put on here. I could put on the pearls, I could put on these iridescent rhinestone basic jewels, I could put on these butterflies. The butterflies, I think those are the ones, right? Yeah. Yes. And it looks like I made a mess of them in this package. I know I did that the day that I received them. Let's throw couple of butterflies. So we'll do, ooh, that one's upside down. That won't do. I mean, they do fly upside down, but oh, really? There we go. Just twirl for me. Here we are. And let's grab this one. And would I like this better if I put a butterfly on here? Probably not, but I will go ahead and do that. Come on. Stick. Stick. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. So, card number 1 is done. Happy Easter. Sending warm and happy wishes this spring. That's using our bunny. Next, so I can set this whole, okay. Set this whole tray aside and bring out my next tray. And you hear, okay, there it is. You hear a hesitation because I am, thank you, Andy. I so much appreciate knowing that. Oh, it's so uncomfortable when that happens. All right, clean up a little bit of my mess from card number 1 and move on to card number 2. So this is a slimline card. And again, I've already pre-cut everything. This slimline card fits in the new slimline envelopes that we're featuring in the January through June mini catalog. There are 3 white, 3 gray, and 3, I think it's soft succulent, for $10. Excuse me, I said 3. There's 5 of each. 5 white, 5 gray, 5 soft succulent, for I believe it's $10. They're real pretty. I should show that to you real quick. When you open them up, they've got this real pretty print on the inside. All right, this is, so for a slimline card, I have measured 7 inches by 8.5 inches, and I have scored at 3.5 inches. So we're gonna go ahead, and this one I'm not putting an insert in. This one I am putting just a little bit of DSP at the top and bottom on the inside. This card's not as thick as the last card. So I'm just going to go ahead and burnish really quick. Set that to one side. Actually, I might as well just go ahead and bring it back. So the DSP that I'm using, I chose to pull in the blue and white stripe from the, I think it's called Sweet as a Peach DSP, and this is in the annual catalog. And that's the back side of it, which is awfully cute too and could easily be used for Easter or spring, but I wanted that blue to go with my little yellow ducklings. And I'm just centering that. The dimensions on this designer series paper are 1/4 of an inch smaller than the exterior of the card. So this card is now measuring 3.5 by, I said 8.5. So it's 3.5 by 8.5. So now it's 3.25 by 8.25. All right. So our DSP is on, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp our little duckies. And I am stamping these in basic gray. Let's see, this is always a little bit of a mess here, trying to get everything laid out just right. Oh, that's that. These are in the way. This is in the way. All right, I'm going to talk just a little louder. I needed to sit to relieve my back a little. So I'm using, oh, that's right. For some reason, when I am tapping this stamp in my ink, I'm getting a halo, and I don't know why. I can't see any reason for it. So it's got to be something about the way I'm holding it, but that happened during my concept card as well. So I'm going to be very, very careful and cognizant here to make sure I don't have a halo, because these are not being fussy cut. Oh, see, I'm getting, can you see the ink that I'm getting around the edge here? I don't want that. So I guess I'm going to turn this over. I'm cleaning off my stamp, turning this over, and I'm going to apply my ink this way. And I should take a look and see if you can actually see what I'm telling you. Yes, you can. All right. See, I see a little bit of a halo anyway, though. Not sure why that is happening, but I'm going to use my chamois to just clean that up, because these are not being fussy cut. These are going to be applied as squares right on the front of the card. So I'm balancing on one foot for two of them, and I'm turning it and balancing it on the other foot for the third. And that way I'm getting this look of kind of a dancing ducky. And I just went ahead and was totally not thinking because I was talking. There we go. Cleaned it off again. Totally wasting ink today, aren't I? Okay, I'm just going to run my finger over it and hope I don't stick my finger in anything. I'm going to turn him over on his other foot, balancing. What a happy little duckling. And this one looks like I've got a clean ink application, so putting it back over on the other foot again. Oh, see, I got that halo. And I didn't think I had any on there. I'm going to flip this over and try that again. I definitely see the halo on this one. All right, try that again. There. I can close up this basic gray ink for now, and I'm going to pull out my blender pens. And I am using the, I was trying to remember why I pulled out the balmy blue, but now I remember it so that I can color some of my ribbon if I decide not to use this So Saffron. So I'm using So Saffron blender pens. They come in duo colors, and I'm using both the light and the dark. Then I have Pumpkin Pie blender pens, but I'm only using the light one for the bill and the feet. So I'm going to color their little bodies. I'm going to do each one individually. I'm going to finish each one individually. So I'm applying. I think I can stand back up now. I think my back is going to let me. Okay. So I am coming in, and I'm even going to let this blender pen go outside a little bit and create kind of that soft fuzzy look. And then I'm going to, so this is the light Then I'm going to come back in with the dark. I'm using the brush tip on both. And where I have that shadowy look, where they've added extra line art, I'm going in and going over it with the dark. And then I'm going to go back over it with the light one more time. Hope my head's not in the camera. All right. And back to the light using the brush. Now I did get a little far out right here on the chest, so I'm going to grab my trying to remember, color lifter, and I'm just going to push that back. Doggone, that shadow is really getting me today for some reason. And it looks like it's leaving a gray mark, but it won't. It's actually saturating the paper and pushing the ink back to where I want it to be. And then I'm going to use the bullet tip of the light pumpkin pie to color in those feet and that bill. Like that. Give that just a second. And then coming back over it one more time, just over where that line art is, where it's a little extra so it shows like a shadowing or a depth. So there is one. The exact same process on all three. And the reason I'm doing each one individually is I don't want the ink to dry 100% before I've moved on to the next color. So if I would have colored all three exactly the same, or at the same time, and then moved on to the next color, the ink might not blend quite as well. That is only my personal assessment. I don't have a ton of experience with blender pens, but I get on okay with them. So I'm just using that dark So Saffron just where I'm seeing that extra line art. And then I'm just going back over it with my light So Saffron. And then my light pumpkin pie with the bullet tip. I love these Easter friends. I think they are so cute. I'm really relieved to have the rain let up. Let's see, this one still looks like I could come in with that color lifter a little bit more. Whoops. In two places I had just a little bit of it's not, in the grand scheme of things, that probably nobody would even notice it except me. All right, last little duckling. This card goes fast. Do you like it? I hope you'll let me know if you do. And I love what the inside of this card says. I picked, so the outside will say my friend, and the inside says, may your days blossom with joy and happiness. I mean, how happy is that little duckling? He's happy. He knows nothing but happiness in his life. And the brush tip of the dark so saffron again. And we've got that. That one is done. One more layer of the light. And then coming back in with that light pumpkin pie. And almost done. Okay. So now I can adhere those directly to their little matte layers. And I'm just using the multi-purpose adhesive to do that. So what's the weather like where you live? Like I mentioned, we are experiencing the Pineapple Express here in the Pacific Northwest. We're supposed to get well over 2 inches of rain today. And I think I'm straight on my mat. See, there's where I had that halo, so I flipped it over and used the other side of the cardstock. Nobody will ever know. They would have to majorly deconstruct this card. All right. So if you were to make this card, I really hope that you would maybe send me a picture and let me see that you made it. I love to share. Like I shared earlier that my friend Kelly was the inspiration for this card here. She had sent me a photo of the first Easter card she had made this year in a text. And I showed that earlier at the beginning. That's a card she made. And I just used a different technique for coloring the bunny and for coloring the flowers. Okay, there we go. There are our little ducklings. Before I go too much further, I guess I'm going to go ahead and stamp the inside of my card, because if I were to make a mistake after, and that's going directly on that back layer like I mentioned earlier. Okay, where did I set that? Oh, it's back in the stamp case. I did so good. I put it away. So that's going to go there. I need my D block. Like I said earlier, I'm using my D block a lot today. are. And then I'm stamping the sentiment on the outside in the basic gray, just like I stamped the ducklings. So I'm going to do the same thing on the inside. I have a halo there. I must just be being heavy-handed today. This is not my normal issue. But see, if I had stamped the inside of my card and I had already assembled the outside, then I would have an issue, right? And right about center. And there we go. It is slightly crooked. It's not horrible, but it is, I guess it gives it that homemade look, right? I'm not going to mess with it at this point. And I might as well, while I'm on the inside, go ahead and adhere these pieces of DSP at the top and bottom. And what I did is so I cut this designer series paper from a piece of 12 by 12, and there was extra, so rather than changing the dimensions of it, after I cut the necessary length for the front, I just cut 3/4 inch strips to put horizontally on the inside. So there's a perimeter all the way around, but I think that's okay because it matches the perimeter on the outside. All right, my friends, let's see. I'm doing baked chicken for my sweetheart tonight. He put in a special request over the weekend for Monday night to have my baked chicken and rice pilaf. I make a rice pilaf from scratch because of my dietary issues. All right. So this gets just a little bit funky, but it's not terrible. So one ducky up there, one ducky in the center, and one at the bottom. Gonna take a quick sip. Or big gulp. When I made this one, I didn't have something to go off of for my spacing. This one I do, which helps a little bit, but if you have one in front of you and you don't have a concept card already made, you're going to want to spend a minute figuring out your spacing. And it comes out to about 1/8 of an inch. It comes out to about 1/8 of an inch right here, 1/8 of an inch in between these two, here and here, and then right here, approximately. So a lot of times you'll hear me say, place your middle item first. In this case, that might be difficult. So I'm gonna start at the top. This one, I started in the middle. And because I was using the green glue, it gave me time to move things around. I need to clean off the tip of my glue here. It's not applying really straight. Ooh, ooh, whoa. Now I'm gonna have to wash that D block. Good thing that was the last time I needed it. So about 1/8 of an inch, I'm eyeballing it. And then I am eyeballing my side to side. So my DSP ends right there, so. That's about correct. And I'm gonna go ahead and place that one. And it looks like I'm gonna end up about right. There we go. So American Idol started last night, and it's their 20th year. I started watching really late as an adult. I had never watched it before my sweetheart and I started dating, and so he introduced it to me, and now I'm diehard. There we go. We're actually really close to done with this card. I need to stamp the sentiment, which is going to go on the front, and then put a bow on. There we go. Looks pretty straight, doesn't it? I think. Let's see, it looks like that might be a little, there we go, that's better. All right. So these are all, I'm just going to flip that over and give it a nice even press. And now, how cute. Cute, cute, cute. I have a scrap piece of paper that I think this is big enough for. Yep. And this just says, my friend, my friend. And I've got a halo there, but it's okay because I think I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut this. This probably would have been cuter. Well, it's okay. This is what we're going to do. I've gone a little longer than I am usually comfortable going, but I wanted to show you 2 cards instead of 1. And maybe before Easter gets here, I will have the opportunity to pull this out again. And this is a little one. This is actually a little bit more difficult. I could have banner cut this like I did the last card. And that probably would have been cute too. And if this doesn't look right, that's what I'll do, because my punch is still sitting out here. There's not much to hold on to there. Matter of fact, I am starting to, here, cut off that excess there. There we go. So are you a fan of fussy cutting? Or do you prefer dies or labels or tags? What do you prefer? I like just about everything, but when I can't find a label or something that fits what I'm doing, then I tend to go with this method. All right, so that's actually not too bad. I'm going to increase this depth right here. And then, whew. All right, I think, yeah, right there. Cute. And then there's going to be a bow right here. And I will make the bow first before I stick that on. And I'm going to use, I don't have any balmy blue ribbon, I don't have any So Saffron ribbon, so I'm going to make a bow using the crinkle ribbon, the crinkle seam binding. that Stampin' Up! Sells. And I'm going to color it in two colors. I'm going to color it in the So Saffron and the Balmy Blue. So set that aside. I've got my, and I'm going to color them with my blender pens. Oh, sorry, I had to bend over for my silicone mat so that I've got something to color on. Oh, that side looks a little dirty. And this is just stained, it's not actually dirty. I think I'm going to use the darker Balmy Blue. I actually like the texture of the ribbon after it's been colored with the blender pens. It kind of gives it a little bit of body. So there's the Balmy Blue. Let that dry. And then grab out the dark So Saffron. I originally was going to use a designer series paper that was fresh freesia on the back, and when I added the orange to the feet and the bill, I didn't love it. It was okay, but I spend too much time making things for it to just be okay. So I switched to these colors, and I actually like these colors, and I think they look Eastery. Some people would maybe even say they look like baby, and that's okay too. It's a baby duck. I like this color combination. I think it looks very fresh and springy. I really wanted to use, we have a black and white plaid ribbon, and I seriously considered doing a black and white plaid background. I considered all kinds of things. A lot of work goes into planning these Facebook Lives. There we go. There we go, there we go. Now pull these ribbons apart where they're tucked inside of each other. Oops, I hear sirens. I have a quiet bunch on here today. No chatties. All right, so this bow is going to sit here, and my friend is going to sit here. So I'm going to cut these somewhat short because I don't want them hanging over my little baby duck. I know sometimes when I'm watching people's lives, I don't comment all that much because I'm multitasking. I'm just grateful for anybody that joins me or watches my replay, because there will be a replay. All right. There. And whoops. And my friend, just like, maybe it goes my friend and the bow is, yeah. I think I actually like that better. So, mini glue dot. Now I wish I would have left those stringers longer on that bow, but that's okay. There we go. What a happy little duck. And then I'm going to put mini dimensionals on the back. And kind of not my traditional placements because I'm focusing on putting them where they actually fit. I can trim them down if I wanted to, but there we go. All right. Well, friends, I sure hope that everyone is staying well and staying safe. We have a lot of chaos in the world right now, and I hope everybody knows that I love you all. Oh, I need a second dimensional. I need to stack one end right here. I love sending cards to people. There we go. And then I do have these iridescent rhinestones. Which add just a little subtle shine and dimension. Whoops. All right, so I am going to use, I think I'm going to use this middle size. And there we go. All right, my friends, here we are. Here's today's demonstration using the Easter Friends, the Stampin' Up! Easter Friends stamp set. There are no dies that go with this, so if there is any cutting, it has to be fussy cutting. So plan accordingly for that. Let's see, let's do a quick recap over what I've shown you today. I showed you how to use the blender pen, which I've set somewhere. Here it is. How to use this blender pen and to blend in the stamped color. I showed you how to line up. So this is actually two different dies here. I used the same die to create this hilltop, but I used two different pieces of cardstock and I showed you how to line those up. What else did I show you? I showed you using the daubers just to color the flowers. I think that's it. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today. My love to you all. Happiest of days and weeks to you. I will be live on Thursday evening for Mystery Stamping. I hope you'll be able to join me. Have a great day, my friends. Bye.